What's up, motherfuckers? This week's episode is brought to you by Deck Chair and Yumz live at the Mandela Hall on the 20th of May. Tickets are flying out. We have a few left, so please get on that. Also, we may as well do it when you're here. We also have the General Banter podcast is live from the Telegraph building on the 5th of May.
5th of May, right? And that's all we need. We'll see you next week.
That's it. That's all he's here for. That's it. So yes, you can hear and you can see the wonderful Mr. Colin Geddis. You're very welcome. Yeah. First
Cheers.
time.
This podcast is also brought to you by my new company, Subchub, where if you have a podcast co-host, some sort of chunky fella with a beard, and he happens to be in a different country for a minute, our company, Subchub, will fly in another chubby, slightly hairy replacement. And this is it.
Last week's replacement also came with shorts, so I didn't get the memo. McCann.
We're two fucking
Two
shit
sets of beautiful pins 2 weeks in a row. That's unreal.
I have some sort of muscular definition. You know, his is just like two tubes of porridge.
And then he got into the fucking the Buddha pose, you know, legs underneath himself. And I'm like, McCann, that doesn't help you. Because it squashes everything to the front whenever you...
I've never seen a man just take the form of whatever vessel he's in. You get in your car or your sofa, you just be like, just leak into the corner of it. He got out of my car at my office, and walked up the steps, and then walked across the room and got on the couch. He went, like he just fucking, like he walked there from Oma. I was like, he went up 14 steps.
So yes, I don't know where do you start?
I don't know. What are you up
to? So yes, we've obviously podcast, comedy, fucking fashion guru.
Fashion guru.
Your merch is class, like that's honest. And all round fucking design, fucking nut job, because you do all your posters and all that sort of stuff. So everything is, you're a one man fucking PR machine.
I'm stuck in a terrible no man's land always of wanting time off, and then having too many things to think about and too many ideas, and then committing to them, and then going like, this is a nightmare, I hate this. And it's all completely my fault.
Yeah. Nobody else to blame for it, yeah.
This podcast too much, what would solve this? I'll start another one. And do you know what I'll do in the meantime? I'd love my own hats. I'll get my own hats, sure, will I? Oh, I just need a bit of time off. Will I just book a tour again?
Well, that is the thing. So you started the Bomb Squad. We talked to McCann last week about it. You know, it's fucking obviously flying in the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, but I knew that. Like I was saying to you a second ago, like I've been doing podcasts for like it must be.
How long is General Banter now? Is it 10 years?
I think I've been podcasting for 10 years.
Right. Okay.
But like for the first wee while, it was just like the Colin Geddis show.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I was sort of like, I wanted to get T-shirts made, and I was like, I can't really put Colin Geddis show on a fucking top, like, so I'll think of it like a name. And then I thought of the General Banter was actually a section from the very first podcast I did, Audio Picnic. So the first section in the podcast was General Banter. What have you been up to?
Okay.
And then it just took it. It's kind of naff, but it's like anything. It's like Red Hot Chili Peppers. You say it enough, you don't even think about.
You don't even think. Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be honest with you, same as Deck Chair and Yumz.
Yeah.
The worst fucking name in the world.
Yeah, I told Mickey many times.
He did say he's getting rid of that.
It's like, what's anything else?
And that was just because literally before we pressed record, I was like, what are we going to call this?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
Have you got a name for me yet?
And
have you been giving people chair names when they come in?
Everybody gets a chair name, you see, and that's why I didn't know.
Who have you got then?
So we've had the Busted Sofa.
Who's that?
McCann.
Well,
the Throne.
McCartney.
The Drum Stool. Ronnie Mullen was in.
Right.
Who else did we have? That's it. Stayed. Oh, Murphy, the swivel chair.
The swivel chair
from Blame Game.
Nice.
I'm trying to think who else there was. Stayed. We didn't give him a name because, let's be honest, it stayed.
Yeah, the naughty step.
So I didn't know. I didn't know if a general actually had a seat. That was like the command center. You know, where does the general sit?
Well, you said it never really insinuates that the general.
Yeah. Well, I always. I always.
That's what you call me.
Call you the general. Yeah. When we talk about you, we say, "Where's the general?"
A hammock. I'll never be in a hammock, man. All my days.
I would love to fucking see you in a hammock. And then I'll go next.
A girl left us a fucking very funny voice message in that Bomb Squad podcast about going to a festival, and you know, they'd eaten in Edinburgh Airport and they all got the fucking shits. And then they went to Tomorrowland, but she's from Monaghan, so she called it the Marland, which fucking I near the fucking aneurysm laughing. But She said, like, she got up in the middle of the night, had the shite in a bin bag, basically, and she looked across, and there was two people riding in a hammock. And all the shiting aside and all, I was like, how the
How
fuck?
do you get the rhythm?
Who's riding in a hammock? Unless she's in it and you're just pushing it away. Just come back, you know? But no, they're not
A
both
literal
in it.
sex swing.
All
Just fucking
bent
fired
the
out.
wrong way. Oh, Jesus Christ. It'd be a fucking disaster.
I
Unless you were in it and she was just squatting over. I don't know. I looked too much
I
into
don't know.
it.
Yeah, I had one of those shit emergencies at a festival one time too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I ended up shitting in a lunchbox. But that was because of pure necessity and emergency.
Spider-Man lunchbox? What sort of
I didn't
lunchbox?
have a It was a big fucking Tupperware thing. One of the boys' mother had made him like fucking 3 days worth of sandwiches,
What a legend.
and it was one of those just I've never had it before or since where I've been waking up with the actual like the urge. I was like, oh fuck, like there was nothing that was coming. That was it. There was nothing I could do, and it was just in the back of a transit van.
Yeah.
Opened the fucking doors, and I'm in the middle of a field. The closest trees are, and I'm like, I'm not going to make it to them trees, and I can't have anybody watch me shit.
Yeah.
So I seen his lunchbox, emptied the sandwiches out, and just sat in the fucking.
What festival was this? You're bringing all the
Oxygen.
sandwiches to Oxygen is just like chaos.
Oh well, it was toward like my last one was 2009, the one I got arrested at, and that was the last time I went. Don't know why right now.
I went to Oxygen once, and it put me off festivals for that long. The next one I went to was Glastonbury, so it took me
fuck right,
like
yeah.
it took me about 8 years to get over that, and then I was like, I suppose I'll go to Glastonbury then.
And that's the thing, it's not the greatest starting point for a festival.
No.
I'd love to. Have you been to Electric Picnic?
No.
I'd love to do it. I hear it's.
I was speaking to the guy after a
classic.
gig who books it, and he was like, I must give you a shout about it, but
Never did.
haven't heard much since. But yeah, it seems to be a bit fancier. That's the way it's going now. That's what they do. They outprice people. They go like, this is dear and fancy and full of hummus, and then you Oxygen was like, what was the stab count today?
That's the thing. They didn't have even Electric Picnic gets rid of the fucking the Tiestos and all that sort of stuff to get rid of the fucking skip rats that come along.
Yeah,
the
they're like
way.
Laura Marling's headlining. You're like, yeah,
Imelda May's an acoustic set.
Imelda May.
in the afternoon.
Imelda May DJ set. Folk dubstep. Folk step.
Just Kid Bush on repeat.
Sorry, fuckers.
So the Glastonbury. What year were you at Glastonbury?
Ah, Jesus, I can't remember.
Who was headliner?
It was supposed to be Foo Fighters, but it was the year Dave Grohl fell off the stage
broke his leg,
and broke
yeah.
his leg, so they dropped out. And then Florence and the Machine stepped in, the headline. But yeah, that was I was like, how the fuck's that gonna happen? But obviously, like Saturday night, biggest gig there. You're like, I'll go anyway.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was actually great.
What? She has an amazing voice. Like I just don't know what to be like live as a band. I don't know.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea music wise, but it was.
You didn't give a fuck.
A
You
spectacle.
were steaming by the stage. Then.
I couldn't get steaming at Glastonbury.
No.
You're talking about shouting at festivals. The Oxygen one I went to, couldn't shout. Glastonbury couldn't shout. But I think it's like,
Is it the fear? Do you think?
no, it's not fear. It's just the actual physical task of it. So like Glastonbury it's like a fucking county.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like absolutely huge. So you're walking for miles. You're like forcing water into you, like you're a fucking athlete. Like I gotta stay hydrated here.
Yeah.
So I just think your body's just using up all the shite at the end.
I learned after the lunchbox escapade to eventually Imodium.
Oh really? You just fucking nip it in the bud?
All the boys just fucking fired the Imodium in, and that was it. 4 days, no shitting.
Well, that's weird too.
Day 5
Day 5
at home. I thought they were going to have to call the water board to come and fucking unblock the sewer, but
No, I see. I would nearly rather be dealing with the shits and dealing with not being able to shite. Although I was talking to Aaron about this yesterday, and I was like, the closest to constipation I've ever had is I maybe didn't shit till about 2 o'clock in the day. That's I've never struggled with it at all. Sport shits I take. I look at the clock and be like, if I have 5 minutes on my hands here, let me go take a. Let me.
why are you shaking in your hands? Oh fuck yeah! No, I would be. I don't know how we got onto the shite talk, but anyway, that was your patron. So do you do that then? Do you get voice notes sent in from listeners then to
No, just if we think there's something funny you want to talk about, you get like wee themed questions or themed voice messages. But it's so funny because you will get people who are like ashamed to be sending it, so that Like one guy
They're
sent
the
one, and I
best.
was like, "Are you under your duvet?" Like it was so, the sound was so shut off, and I was so just like this here.
Didn't want the wife to hear.
I was just like, I took a shade at a wedding one time. Just petrified. But so we'll do it as a backup. But if we can fill the space chatting,
Yeah.
we just chat usually.
Well, we did the Aganair, which was
Yeah.
sort not similar, but it was the same idea where the people could send in, but that was hectic. Like it was, you opened the phone lines up and
Yeah.
anybody could ring in.
You're listening to the stories like you should be in prison.
There were a few now, I have to say. Weren't too bad. But so tell me then, the live podcast is Friday the 5th of May. So
5th of
when this
May.
goes out, actually, it'll be that Friday night. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it goes out tomorrow. This goes out to our patrons. Oh, actually, no, you're all right. We've got another week. Yeah, you'll have a full week. So,
Nice.
yeah, get your tickets, Telegraph Building. I mean, let's be honest. You must be up there with the fucking resident DJs of the Telegraph Building. I mean, that
funny-
seems to be your gaff.
Funny, like, well, it is this year. Like, that was part of the stipulation. Was like, if I book a load of gigs here,
Yeah.
I would prefer if no one else
No one
booked
else
a load of gigs there. Because
Well, it makes sense.
Because I'm in that place now where I'm just trying to do cool, different stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like did the SSEs, did every other venue on the way up. Not the Waterfront though, skip that somehow. But like,
Oh, yeah, right enough.
I'm just kind of like, it's not like if I was just doing the SSE every Christmas,
Yeah.
it would not be exciting, and people would just be like, "Oh well, I'll catch him next year."
But
Whatever.
that's the thing. You have to keep the interest peaked, don't you? Like you have to get.
So I'm
as
just
you
trying to
say,
move
something-
it about. But then I think the whole general banter, dead on mafia movement thing feels better in somewhere like Telegraph. It feels like
Right, yeah.
underground slightly.
It's a big venue, isn't it?
It's 1,050 people. It's a nice size, like, and they're just all right out in front of you in a big square. But they've done stuff to it to make it like a better venue. to
Yeah,
sit
they were
in.
talking the last time about putting a big. Was it a drape or something?
They've
on
got a
the
drape
back
at
of
the
thing,
front,
yeah?
drape at the back, big screen,
the
big
sound.
light rig, painted the floor so you're not stepping over fucking dead seagulls and rats and shit to get in there.
That could have been a nice wee quirk actually to your podcast.
Oh, yeah. Like
Everybody
Steve
find a dead
Aoki
rat
just
there.
throwing dead pigeons in people's faces. Yeah, thunk. Take that, you bastard. But they're wild. Like young Mickey did the last one, and they're just, fuck me. We cut about 8 minutes of him out.
Is that? Oh yeah,
Oh,
I can
Jesus.
imagine. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
yeah. Was there? And this is probably the most stupid question that is going to be asked this podcast. But was he drinking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be fun to bring out like bottles of Buckfast on stage, like, oh, look at us
you
boys
didn't.
partying, thinking like it's a bit of a prop, have a sip, set it down, sip away at the beer. He's just like crack, glug 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 glug, and every time we went back to him, he got redder, and just fucking.
You don't bring drink to an intervention. We only have him on the stage here to try and keep him sober for an hour, and you fucking fed him more drink. Yeah, we had to see him. Now, I have to say, it's not often this happens, but I was worse than him on our live podcast.
Your live podcast, yeah. Jesus Christ.
I had to listen back the next morning to hear the last half hour because I had no idea what happened. Like.
Oh god.
Yeah. And it wasn't good.
Nobody.
Drinking and comedy don't go together.
Let me
No.
tell you something. Nobody really even knows what a live podcast is yet.
This is the thing, and because there is no rules to a podcast, so
No,
there's
not
no rules
really.
to a live one either. It's just whatever
Yeah.
you want to be doing. But then that leaves it you're kind of too open. Then there's too many options, and you don't know how to fucking finalize it and like really specialize on something.
I think when you do a comedy podcast, like people expect it to be really funny.
Yeah,
So you have to put things in place that are gonna almost guarantee it to be really funny.
Yeah.
And then you can throw in extra wee bits here and there to spruce it up. But then, like, I would love to do a live podcast, like, say, like the Bomb Squad one, in my office in Belfast, because you could probably get about 60 seats in there in front of the desk. And actually just do the podcast instead of trying to do a live show. Just do the podcast and have people watch and laugh
and have the reactions.
Yeah.
And then that would be unreal because, as you say, then you have to put on a show.
Yeah.
So it's the whole fucking the glitz and glamour around it because you have screens and you have lights, shows, and
See, once you
smoke.
get more than about 200 people in a venue, you're like, this has to be a show now.
And when this is us now, we're moving from we did the Black Box, which was 200. Now we're moving to the Mandela, so we have to see him for the problem. And he lands back about 3 days for the show.
I was there. I did Mandela last night. I did Queens
I was
last
going to
night.
ask you about it. How to get on?
It was like the room is weird, as in like
It's big.
it's a big hall,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like
Because the old Mandela felt like it wasn't a big hall.
no, it might have been the best venue in Belfast by a
I
mile.
loved it. Like, I mean, you got to be one of the last performers on it, actually. we did the Bonnevilles night.
The Bonneville's night, yeah.
And it was
I did a live podcast. I threw in a live podcast before they closed
then,
as well.
And then I think maybe, was it either Woodsy or McCann might have had maybe the last show. One of them had the last comedy show on it, and right, but it was only within the space of a few weeks, but it was gone. But the amount of bands I went to see there, I fucking loved that. And then when I was watching the comedy the night I was on, I was like, it doesn't have the same vibe. It doesn't have the same feel. Like the bar used to be inside, and all that sort of, so weird. Like, it used to go the whole way around the back of the bar, so I don't know.
I was talking to someone the other day, Iman, who was up from Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about, like, the way the venues work and how people book them and whatever. And I was like, the move for me would be build a venue, or, like, buy a venue. And then I sort of was like, I kind of do have a venue. Like, Lavery's will just let me do whatever I want in there.
That is your,
Like, I could do fucking 6 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Headlight. And then I was like...
Well, the comedians do is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Phone call goes in, can we have the middle floor? Aye, work away.
Yeah. But, like, I was like... And you know when, like, an answer is, like, just dangling in front of your face and you don't notice it for fucking... It, I was like, we did comedy in the pool room after the lockdown. And it's about the size of Limelight 1, and you'd easily get 400 seats in there.
That's right.
And I was like, why don't I just fucking do
in Lavery
10 nights in Lavery's upstairs?
Why don't you?
And we'll cut that out, because some other cunt will fucking do it. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But you would have surely first refusal in Lavery's, like, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, and almost like exclusivity. I could sort of go, like, can I do this? And maybe just don't let people book it. I know that, like, their pool room's a big thing. They want people playing pool.
Yeah.
But if they have to take it away for a Saturday night, take it away for a couple of hours early, put a show on, open it up for the discotheque.
For the discotheque. But I mean, the same thing. I mean, you've 10 or 12 boys playing pool, or 400 people in buying drink. They're going to go and move the pool tables.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. That's where I'm at the minute. Like,
But it has to be, you have to try and keep it fresh, and you have to try and keep it, you have to keep the people entertained, but you also have to keep them interested. Because seeing you then, as you say, even seeing you in the Telegraph building, I've seen him there. So maybe Lavery's could be, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
And I'm not really one of these ones where I'm like, right, we've done that. What's bigger? What's next? What's bigger? What's bigger? What's bigger?
Yeah, it does have to be bigger. Because there's only so far you can go. Well, I think the Odyssey is as far as you can go.
Yeah, unless you do a fucking stadium. But like, it doesn't mean it's going to be a good night.
No.
Sometimes I'm thinking along the lines of, is this venue a good venue to go to as a punter? Like, that's the level I'm at. And I watch other shows.
It's not a bad way to gauge things.
I watch other shows and go, this is a long night, man. I'm thinking in my head, like, if I was going into town, you're trying to give people value for money, but you're also just like, could I just not, like, do this condensed thing at the start of their night, and they have from fucking 10 o'clock to 1 to have the rest of their night?
Yeah,
that's the sort of shit
that's the way.
Well,
I'm actually thinking the same with dailies. So, for instance, we would have been a 9 o'clock start.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, no, it should be an 8 o'clock start to give not just the punters a chance to get out afterwards, but also the other pubs then can get because what happens is everybody leaves dailies at 11 and every other pub's closed. So they can't get anywhere, and so I'm thinking even for that, because again, you got to think of the people and their length of time and how long, so that's something to change. But I mean, do you find that the bigger the venue, is it harder work in a bigger venue or less? I always say the numbers game of, especially for comedy.
Harder work while doing the gig?
Yeah. No?
Not really. I don't know. Not really.
Like, if you, like, do you, I wouldn't have, I haven't experienced the SSE, but I mean, that level of numbers, which do you prefer, that or a packed fucking Limelight 1? Do you know, as a performance mode, not let's be honest, obviously, money-wise, we know which one would be the one we'd all prefer. But I mean, if it's...
even if you walk it, if you're in that sort of territory, you're like, like, would I rather do this gig and get the majority of the money, or would I rather do this giant gig and see how much comes off? And then you're like, oh my fucking days, what am I... I'm just
because if you think of, like, Tiernan, he kind of did like a residency in Vicar Street for a while. Do you remember? I think he did hold the record. I think Joanne McNally now has beat it, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
But something like 26 nights or something, 27. That's 27,000 people. You know what I mean? It's fucking.
Oh, that's. I mean, I think Foil Arms and Hog did about 40. Did they?
Oh,
not?
did they go? I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 years ago, turning. So obviously somebody's beat that since then. Like fucking hell. So I mean, even the pool room, fucking 52 nights every Saturday night for a year.
I'm doing Vicar Street.
Are you?
8th of September.
Fucking nice.
No, absolute big swing in the dark, like. But
fucking log.
I was talking to Chris Kent, and he because I was on about the 4th year of selling out Whelan's, and I was speaking to the guy from Aiken. I was like, "What's the next move?" And he was like, "Oh, it's political and all, like, ownership of venues and stuff." And he goes, "I would push you towards, like Liberty Hall or Vicar Street." And then I spoke to Chris Kent, and he was like, "Sure, I couldn't sell out Whelan's," and then I booked Vicar Street and sold 900 tickets or something. So I was like, "I'll try Vicar Street," but even that sort of thing, like. It sounds so wanky, but you're like, you nearly want to take a big swing instead of going like, here's my 6th SSE.
Yeah.
Or something. You want to go like,
well, you want to keep yourself fucking
let's
interested.
try something here that's kind of scary and borderline fucking stupid, but
that keeps you on the edge.
Figure it out.
And I mean, the Vicar Street is, that's obviously iconic in itself, but you've got so many, as you say, you've sold out Whelan, so I mean, you've got definitely plenty of
like when the day the tickets went on sale, it sold more than what Whelan's would hold. So like,
so what's a natural next step up then?
Just like, now there'll be a bit of work to be done, Connor, you know what I mean? Bit of
even in my head, I'm going, fucking it's September, I might go down Dublin for the night for that one. For the
well, that's Begley was like, I've booked this place and all. I thought we'd stay in the same place, but sure, fuck it, I had to book it anyway. He's the money spent. He's
I'd be down, absolutely. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh, we tripped in.
You get those fair weather friends.
Yes.
My wife is the same.
I've one of them.
Do you want to go to Lavery's tonight? Can't be arsed. Don't do this, can't be arsed. Go on Daly's, can't be arsed. When's that SSE gig? Will we book the merchant? You'll be like, I get to see it for about 3 hours, but I go ahead.
I've got the same thing. Because Murphy's doing 3 nights in the Opera House now at the start of July, and same thing.
Yeah.
Didn't want to come to any other gig.
You don't want to go to the Ardone?
We've been going for 3 fucking months. I want to come to the Paris Hotel in Maherfeld.
Didn't see you sprint into the stroll. You know what I mean?
Straight away. Oh, go, we stay over. She didn't go to the merchant. She knew what the answer would be to that one. Like, but it wasn't far off. It was like it was Malmaison or something like that.
I hate hotels.
I'm not a fan.
It doesn't matter. I've been in shit hotels and very expensive hotels, and I've had the same experience.
I
wipe your knob
have to say I'm a very big fan of apartments. Mm-hmm. Rather have that crack than the whole hotel fucking.
Absolutely.
It's just
Then you don't have the embarrassment of walking through the foyer with whatever sacks of food you've got.
A little leftover drink. Unless when you're in with my kid, there's no leftover.
That'll be Maureen when we check into like the merchant, clanking the way up the stairs, clink, clink, clink. One pair of socks.
Mine's is just rattle of foil.
Yeah.
Just crisp bags. Just a rucksack full of fucking multi-packs. Get up upstairs.
You can't cushion the noise with just a load of fucking grass in a bag, no?
Not allowed. Wouldn't do that. That's illegal. Speaking of Begley, I mean, we went to see Mr. Begley in Rent.
Rent, yeah.
In Oma, so shout out to the Hazel One group doing a great rendition of that.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen Rent before?
No.
I'd never seen it actually. I was quite impressed.
No. I mean, it's funny having a friend who does that regularly, and he knows that I despise musicals. So, but even he was like, my solo's 15 minutes into it, so if you want to fuck off at half time, that's all good.
So he knows his audience, like he knows you.
So we actually went round at Daly's, and then I'd been podcasting and sitting in a car all day, and I went round and stood and watched Paddy for about 10 minutes. I was like, I have drinking to do here. I was hanging downstairs. Here.
I was down, and I was so tempted. I didn't realize then you actually did go to Bogan's afterwards.
Oh, we did. I got molested in Bogan's.
I could have stayed out the very.
I got into Bogan's, and by the time I did the rounds with everybody, about 45 minutes later, I was like sitting down with the rest of them.
You had to go and do all the selfies and all.
Selfies, fucking. There was two girls right enough were in the front row of our Fringe show.
Right. And
they had a mate who, and they were getting like photos and chatting the ones and all, and then there was just this one girl who was just like, who are you? Who are you? And I'm like, I care less than you do, believe me. I would love to fucking...
It's such a weird question. It's only been asked to me once.
Who are you? Why is everyone talking to you?
Somebody stopped me and asked me for a selfie, and then this, again, a female come up, who are you? And I went, why?
But
why would you care?
Talk about some primitive... sort of DNA human shit there.
Oh, yeah.
Why is everyone interested? She wouldn't let me go anywhere. She's like holding me.
Just in case you might miss something.
What is it? Where are they? I was like, here, you'll be let down. Look it up. You'll be let down. I talk about my dick on recordings.
And tell me, what's the strangest interaction you've had with somebody who wanted to You normally get. I've
You
been
name
there.
it, you name it. Like
I've been there for the selfies and stuff, and I usually take the photograph for you. I'm usually
the best one is Kieran Bartlett's favorite was when, what do you call it? Frango's used to be open across the road from Lavery's.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Lavery's, go to Frango's every fucking time. Get that burger that's like a beef burger and a chicken burger in it. Fat. Me and Kieran. And some guy just was eating in the corner, and then he finished and put his rubbish in the bin and walked over and went, Colin, I'm a big fan. He went, it's been a pleasure to watch you eat.
Fuck off.
And then he left, and I was just like, you know, he just like spit the food out of my This guy's gonna come back and fucking kill me here.
It's a pleasure to watch you.
It's a pleasure to watch you eat. Full erection. Full sideways pocket boner.
Mayonnaise in front of his trousers.
It's been a pleasure to watch you eat.
Holy fuck, that is a
But
fucking...
people are fucking, it's fine, like fucking, you know.
Like, most are we actually...
I'm not fucking Kevin Hart, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's happened for that long that, like, actually being around Kevin Hart that time, like, someone would be like, Kev, can I? And he would just be like, yeah, no, probably take the phone, boop,
Yeah.
hand it back. Because people go, like, phones
get all
upside
nervous.
down and all, and they're like, what's... And then forget the code. You know, like, when there's a like, that's a real thing. Like, there's an emergency, and people just panic, and they don't know, just they go, like, 999.
Yeah.
You know? They can't figure out how to work their phone, just such a blind panic. So weird, like, but...
Was it, who was it? Was you who told me one time about you, especially fellas, you're like, come on over here for a photograph, you big cunty, and then when they get there, they're fucking shaking. The adrenaline's on, the nerves are getting to them.
I mean, like, if I always think, like, I'm trying to think who I would have to see where I'd be like, oh, I gotta get a photo, but I'm gonna go about it as nice as I can. Quick and polite is the best way.
I've done it once.
Right.
In my 12 years now coming at stand-up of a fellow comedian.
Right.
And I got turned down. I've only done it one time, and it's the only person that would ever go, fuck.
What scenario was it? Did you see them in the wild, or was it at a comedy
At
event?
a comedy gig at the Stand in Edinburgh. So that gives you the level, maybe.
Frankie?
No. Irish.
Dylan Moran?
Yeah.
He's a fucking weirdo anyway, isn't he?
He was absolutely gentleman.
Yeah.
Stood and chatted with me for a long time. And then I felt so, all I could think of was, I fucking love Black Books. I just love everything you've been in and all the rest. And I thought, well, I'll do it. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. And then, because I had, it was Red Raw, so it was like the open mic night, and he was sort of,
Guest
coming
closer.
into guest closing. And as I was on stage, so I was the second last on, he came in as I'm on stage. And you could see him at the back, you know, and you're on stage trying to fucking, you know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, we're here no more. And as I come off stage, he made a beeline for me. He was like, how long are you doing stand-up? And I went, oh, 6, 7 years. And he went, oh, that's okay. And he walked away.
Did you think you were like a fucking raw open micer?
And I was like, all right, because he obviously was listening, seeing, because it was stuff, material that obviously is well tried and tested. And but it was just the nerves in his face, as if I was a first timer coming up. I was like, no. I was like, oh,
Imagine you were just like,
I should have been back.
28 weeks?
This is my second gig.
No, imagine he...
But I asked him, and he went, Connor, I'm going to be honest, I don't do them. I was like, no, that's grand, that's fine, no problem.
That's fine, no.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a dick
nice.
about it, and he stood there and chatted for me about 10 minutes or whatever, but there was
That's
no...
grand. No,
But
that's
you
grand.
talk about wanting the ground to fucking sweat, because I don't do it for anybody.
Yeah.
Ever. And I've
But
met
isn't it
some
funny that
things,
he almost seems like a musician? Mm-hmm. Even though he's a stand-up, but he's got that, like, it'd be like asking fucking Damien Rice for a photo or something. You know what I mean? Like, he'd be like, no, it's not that cool.
And he got up, obviously, and did what Dylan does, but I remember him, like, there was within about 3 lines, and I was like, I should give up stand-up.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Like that line you just said there is just the epitome. And I can't even remember what it was, but at the time I remember just being an awe going, nah, just give up. Forget about it.
I know, but it's funny though, like last year, in 1 year, I had done like the Kevin Hart thing and did Ivy Gardens where I was opening for Tommy Tiernan. And I mean, blind panic. Like fucking borderline panic attack, fucking tunnel vision. I was like, this is fucking insane. But then he's walking up and down the back shitting himself too. You know what I mean?
No,
It's like, it's
that's the
same
other
shit.
thing, yeah. That's the one thing. Like, I was just talking to Murphy about it the other night. Murph was just in blind panic mode. And he was like, "That's it. I'm fucking done." I was like, "Yes." I was like, "I'm fucking so happy to hear somebody that's at it so long, so
You're close
established."
enough with him.
Yeah.
Tell him to get round to Lavery's the fuck.
Oh,
I'll settle
yeah.
his nerves.
I'll get on them.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck. I've asked him a million times. Said no every time.
Right.
Get her grab by the throat.
I'll get on them.
And be like, if you know what's fucking good for you, you'll get round there. Because he'd love it.
It fucking killed him. Like, some of his new stuff's brilliant. Like, and he's sort of in between. But it's just as you say, when you see Tiernan pacing up and down, Ardal O'Hanlon, when he came to Daly's, I've never seen anybody as nervous in my life. I'm like, "You're fucking Father Dougal. Like, what the fuck? You could go out and read the telephone book to go and laugh." But it just shows you that the comedy thing is just never leaves you. Like, that fear and that I'm going to die in my hole.
I come off stage and Tommy Tiernan just went to me, "Good work." And I went, "What the fuck does that mean? You can't."
Was there a question mark at the end of that work? Was there? Good work.
Good work. Maybe.
Good work. I don't know.
You heard it, Tommy. You heard it, lad. You heard it.
Him and Dylan were the only two really I would probably freak out about. Like, I remember walking through Edinburgh with Mickey, and my brother was with me, and just walking along, heading from one venue to the next, and all of a sudden you say, "All right, Mickey. All right, Tommy." And I was like, "What's that?" And he was like, "No, Mickey." Like, "Oh, that's Tommy Tiernan." Yeah. Well, I was like, "You fucking wanker."
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if I would have been able to say anything.
I told you the Jim Owen interaction, no?
No.
Coolest thing that's ever happened in my comedy career. We were walking out, like Three Sisters, like outside there. And these ones, I think it was with Kieran and William maybe, and someone was like, "Oh, we're coming to see you tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh, fucking fantastic." And they're like, "Can we get a wee photo with you now just before, so we don't have to bother you tomorrow?" Yep, 100%. Get the photo in the street. Jim Owen walks past and he goes, "Oh, superstars." Like out there. And he walked past and he looked back and he was like, and I've never met Jim Owen in my life.
Right.
Like,
Fucking
but obviously
hell.
he knows Robbie and Mickey and they're all close enough, like, but he's just like, "Oh, superstars."
You would freak if you see him. Like,
I was just like, for the photo that they took of me, I was probably like, just looking back down the street.
was that fucking?
But that was the coolest thing that's ever happened. Like, how cool is that? Like, you could have all the stories, went on a piss with it on tour and all, and you're just like, "Oh, he fucking, knows who you are, but
superstar.
doesn't really know who you are, but knows who you are," type thing. Fucking great.
It is, yeah. Some of the things it's a bit surreal at times, especially somebody like that you may have known.
Yeah.
Even for me with Murphy, sometimes I still be like, I can't.
But that's the whole thing. It's like there's a weird little there's a weird thing going on where or it probably happens with us doing this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
people are watching you all fucking day, and then they see you in real life, and they're like, "What?" Like, it's so weird.
Or the opposite, they're so familiar.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
They think they know everything about you.
Yeah.
And what technically I suppose they do, they hear some conversation every week, but but they forget that we don't know who they are. So then they come up and they mention something, and it happens to me in a shop locally in Oman. I'm like, "What?" And then they remind me about the podcast. I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry, okay."
Or even like,
because they're so random to people. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
so
We got let into a fucking Airbnb in Port Rush, and the guy was just like, he goes, "It's weird you're answering me back now," or so, he's like, "It's weird I'm actually."
There's a response.
It's weird I'm answering you back because I'm just listening in the car or something.
Do you find that then with the stand-up? Sometimes I noticed that on my tour that when I went out, and it's not heckling and it's not malice. It's just
overly comfortable.
Well, in my head, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Is that they're so used to either being in their car with their headphones or in their kitchen or whatever, and it's on the background, and they're talking away with it.
Yeah.
So then when they go and see it live, they're still talking away with it. You're
just shout away.
Yes, it's not the podcast now. You have to fucking.
Stand-up's so weird because like, it is like I think people earlier in their stand-up careers get so offended at people making any noise. Like, "Excuse me, can you fucking be quiet? I'm trying to talk." But then you're sort of like, yes, it's a show, but like, there are a lot of people here, and they will make a bit of noise type thing.
And that's really we sort of have it in dailies where you sort of it's really a security's job to deal with that as opposed to the acts. The acts can deal with a heckler. But if it's a persistent talker, well, then that's not the act's job on the stage. That should be security sorting that out.
Yeah.
Navi's is very tight with their security, and the showrunners, like the girls who help out as fellas, like they're bang on. Like they're always.
I think it helps too to be run predominantly by girls. Because they go up and they'll be like, "If you make any more noise, you'll be chucked out." And there's something weirdly threatening. Now, these girls would fucking
Oh, not fucking it.
eating shit, yeah, in fucking 2 seconds. But like,
No, you're right.
It's there like a big bouncer going over with the fucking gear and all. I mean, like, make any more noise.
But I tell you what's even worse is for me. That's why I've had to get somebody in. Is going up and telling people to be quiet, and then going up and MC and trying to make them laugh.
That's hectic.
And they're like, "Oh, there's the fat man. Made me move my seat." You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to talk to you. Then you don't want anything to do with you. So you have to.
Do you ever remember the old like, Ahmed Jalili clips where you'd be like, "Shut the fuck up! I love you. I love you."
In between all that, yeah.
I did that last night. I said something and someone went, "Brr," and I just went, "Shut up!" Like, just silly. Like, not even. I'll never have a fucking comedian destroys heckler video. It'll always just be like, "Ah, shush, will you?"
So yeah, that was in dailies, and then we had because that night, and I talked to you about it when it happened. Do you remember there was fellas sitting and they sort of were looking over at you, and they were, "All right, Colin, how's it going?" Blah, blah. And then it was until the women landed, so their partners came along, and it's always, I've noticed this happen to me and Mickey quite a lot, where the fella is the fan of the podcast, and the woman has no fucking idea who you are.
She'll not be afraid to embarrass herself.
So she doesn't care. Yeah, so she's like, "I'll go and talk to him."
Yeah.
I don't know. So
That
because they don't know.
fucking fanny over here wants the photo of you.
So that happened to me in the night of the boxing. It goes, one of the girls come up and listen, "I don't have no idea who you are, but my husband loves you." And I'm like, "Oh, what a way to fucking introduce yourself." I was like, "Right." And she goes, he's going mad over there because I come up. I was like, "Well, don't come up." He's going mad. Don't follow him.
Stay there.
And then eventually I was like, "No, let's go over." And went over and chatted to him, and he was all like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I was like, apologizing for his wife, who was just like, "I don't give a fuck. I was 6 for sack one man. I'm going to go up here and get this fat fuck to move." But yeah, it's obviously you get it to a different level, because I remember being out, and the one thing about you, I don't think any of us do, Shane or any of them, nobody bees a dick about like selfies or photographs. Like everybody,
like, it's amazing.
yeah.
Like, you can't be selling fucking thousands of tickets in a venue and expect nobody to fucking bother you after.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's why I think it's great. I think we have a great approach to the whole thing. Even when we're walking through Belfast, as I say, I'm usually the one taking a photograph. "Do you want me to take it for you?"
Speed it up.
Hurry up, they fuck. That's a reference for anybody that's under 18 that doesn't know what that noise is.
Yeah, that's a what do you call it? Disposable camera.
Fuck me, couldn't think of it there. Yeah. So we're going to be. Are you going to go to the Fringe?
No.
Are you doing Fringe? You're not doing any at all?
No.
I thought you might have went over for a wee week run or something.
No,
Not a wee week.
I'm actually a week is right. No, I'll probably do some bigger shows in August.
Oh, nice one. Okay.
Because this is the first year where I've actually planned it nicely, where I dumped all last year's set and started very aggressively writing new stuff.
Right.
And then did a couple of work in progress things. So I have about 40 minutes now from January.
Sweet.
That is, and like last night I did Queens, and I was like, this is fucking shaping up nicely here.
Nice.
And then
there's nothing better, but isn't that new feeling of new stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, "Thank fuck it's working."
August, I'll try and shoot that.
I don't know if we'll not announce it yet, but we have a surprise date maybe for Oma sometime.
For dailies.
So we'll get that announced at some time. But yeah, you're going to be a first time ever. We'll leave it at that. Just let it linger. First time ever is going to happen.
First ever fully nude performance and crowd interaction.
Here, I seen
Dailies orgy.
some American guy did that recently, like this week. I seen it on
Just went on stage
Reddit or
naked?
something, completely naked, and just did his whole set. And of course, the thing was blurred out, and that's all I wanted to see.
The cock?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because I'm thinking it has to be huge.
Well,
There's
you never know.
There's
'Cause
nobody with a small cock going up there naked on stage. I don't. If
Do you ever hear the term "shame makes me shameless"? Have you ever heard that?
No.
That's like, people who've had like horrible upbringings and whatever, and they go the opposite way. They go like, I don't give a fuck about anything.
Ah, well, yeah, maybe, yeah.
The guy's probably like, listen,
Fuck it.
can't do anything about this tiny cock now, can I? They used to do that at Spank at the Fringe, the naked promo. Do you ever see that?
No.
I don't think Spank happens anymore. It was like a late night show for Underbelly, and you would go down into like Cowgate and into the Edinburgh's like into a fucking medieval fuck dungeon away downstairs, and it'd be a late show and people would drop in. Like I was at it, fucking Al Murray dropped in and
Right.
it was chaos. But one of the spots is you can go up, take all your kit off, and like advertise your show that's on the next. So people just get up and full deck out and all and be like, the 3:10 tomorrow at the Hive. My show's about is a puppet show with fucking whatever cock out. But like, here's the other thing: you don't want to see anyone's dick, big or small, with stage lighting.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like in full 4K, inches from your face. This guy's wee saggy bag and sad penis. I prep for it, bro.
You're ready for it, like, oh.
You know, prep for it.
Yeah,
Helicopter a bit of life into it and fucking trim them pubes,
do the
bro.
2 fingers one, shaking either
You
side.
know, right? If I had to do that, I'd have it cinched off at the bottom, full of very vascular, greased up. Shave a fucking
Varicose balls.
Vargas balls, Vargas shaft. I'd be up there, all pale in the face now. The show's on tomorrow. It's 8:10. Full of Viagra's. Just fucking milky white body, purple cock. Full purple, like a dildo strapped on.
I don't know
But
why.
I'd forget.
I don't know why I'm sticking on that visual. I can't get it out of my head.
It'd be funny if you just get up and you don't even have a show. I'm just visiting, but on the 5th of May next year, I'm doing the Telegraph building in Belfast. If anyone, I just come up here to get my cock out of it. Not a lot of women doing it, believe it or not.
Well, I would surprise
A
you.
lot of fucking weird fellas promoting their show that no one's going to go to anyway.
Has any woman ever done that?
I'm sure.
That's fine. Probably
I'm sure,
did.
yeah. I think the hosts went up naked one night or something. Like, It was like a girl and a fella. But it's funny. It's gross. Like most people are gross.
Yeah.
You know. You want to see,
That's it.
and you'll look at any naked person.
Yeah.
You will, won't you? You'll be like,
don't know if you look at me. I can guarantee that I will never do a naked live show. Not too many things I can guarantee.
not
in
even
life.
a promo. You would do
Not
a
even
promo.
a promo. No. These vinegar lids don't go out. You keep them in. You don't.
What did you call them?
The vinegar lids.
Why?
We inverted nipples.
We spy. And party top hats. The vinegar lids. That's amazing. Inverted nips.
Yeah.
Is that not a problem? No.
No, it's grand. They come out. They come out all the time, like, but it's just very.
You know you get Botox in them. Girls were doing that if you had an oil inverted nip. If you had an oil party ring, there you could
just
go.
pops out.
You could go get a bit of Botox and have it out all the time.
Oh, come on, let's take a look at that.
Why is seeing a nipple through a t-shirt better than seeing the tit out?
I don't know. I think it's because there's
some
still
sort of
mysticism there, but it's just
Primitive science.
Yeah,
It's like I can see it, but I can't see it. You know?
Yeah, it's like seeing Tommy Tiernan from afar.
Yeah.
I can see him, but I don't want to touch it.
Yeah. Good work. Good work. Not as small as you think, Tommy Tiernan.
Oh, isn't it?
You think he's a wee waif, but he's a regular enough size man.
I thought it was.
Isn't that funny though? You
I don't know
he's
why
like
in my head I thought it's even when he
like
walked past us, it was too late to see.
He's like a
the
wee
gauge.
leprechaun, but he's about 5'10". He's a
all right,
regular
okay.
size man.
So you're saying August maybe bigger shows? You're thinking here?
I'm doing some bigger shows, and then I don't know.
Are you going back to SSC?
I don't know. I don't even know if we'll go back to stand up. I'm all with it. I'm having a midlife crisis.
You go through that every fucking 8
I'm
months.
having a midlife crisis now. I'm just, I don't know. There's a generation of people coming up, and they're all like, they're just going like, "Why are you podcasting? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing all that shit?" You know, just do your wee gig, get your clip, put them up. One of them's gonna do 2 million hits, and you'll do a tour off the back of it. Like,
No. But I mean, they're not going to last. Because as you know and I know, there's a craft to it, like, and you have to work in that craft. You can flare up and you can blow up with a viral thing, but if you don't have the chops to deal with a fucking shitty venue of people giving you fucking grief, and that doesn't mean I have the answer, but at least you have more. You have more in your arsenal that you're able to pull out if you need to have.
like
it.
I mean, there's genuinely like, you think of everyone as like the comedians or whatever, and then there's like the sort of that generation that is the fucking, you're in it, and Mickey and Shane and fucking even Woodsy and Dave and all those ones where you're like, you think we're all just the comedians gigging whatever, but then you go on a lineup with some fresher people, and you're going on and you're like, that's, you see, you're not like you're going, I'm better, but you're going, I'm better now.
Yes,
because
you
I've been at
realize
it for fucking 15
and
years
you
or
can
something.
you can see the ones who have worked on their skills versus the ones who haven't.
Yeah.
And new ones won't have it.
Or even just get it.
Yeah, or get it
as a concept.
But and this is not any disparaging to new acts, but new acts, and that's from experience, they will not be fucking amazing when they start.
No.
Nobody is. You have to work on
But
it.
the really good people are kind of good from the word go.
Well, the really good ones will like myself, you know, who won a competition the first time.
Egg and spoon race. Vinegar lid toss.
At the fucking egg. No, but there are, you know, the young ones, and I've only seen a few. I would say
I'll take that back. Actually, the people who are good don't really change at all from when they start.
Yeah.
Mickey's never changed.
No.
Don't think you've ever changed. People like McCartney, out of the gates, fully formed.
Well, I was just talking about
Woodsy.
To a fella yesterday about McCartney, because McCartney is probably the last person I seen that I thought, holy fuck, unreal.
I think he's
But
genius.
he died on the night. Died of fucking death in the PAV. But the good thing was I had been doing it about 4 or 5 years or whatever, and I seen him. First of all, they announced there was a comedian coming up from Tyrone. I thought, who the fuck? You know, McCann's not here. I was like,
Another one?
Who is there? And they announced him on, and I fucking howled at the back, but the place was fucking, you know, it's the PAV.
Yeah.
So, and it was the old PAV with the stage on the other side, and it was just dead, you know. And I went up to him, and I never forget the face on him. The head just fucking hung down. And I said, fuck, man, I enjoyed that. And he goes, oh, fuck, don't know about that, hey. That was my second time trying it. That's me done. That's me fucking, no chance. And I knew just by listening, I was like, man, do me a favour. I run a gig in Bogans, because Daly's was closed at this stage.
Yeah.
I was like, come and do the same set in Daly's, or in Bogans, to see how I get on.
But you know what's happened since? I'll take him on tour and he'll come off at Monkey Barrel after absolutely fucking torching the place and come off and he'll be like, oh, I don't know about that, man.
I was trying to see you.
And you're like, I nearly got a taxi back to the fucking apartment. Him and Robbie fucking killed it. I was like, that's shit.
It's all an act. But he came in then to Bogans, did the exact same set, and fucking tore the roof
Emptied
of the place.
I remember
Absolutely tore the roof of it.
there was a charity night someone organised at the Limelight, and I remember, you know, Vittorio was doing like stand up.
I was there. I was on that night too, yeah.
You were on. And he'd been gigging in London, and I think he came back, and everybody was on this charity night, like just fucking killer after killer. And then McCartney got up and just went, "Merely I tell you something," and the place just.
That's all he said. Merely I tell you, and then that's it. That's all he had to get.
And then, like, I remember Vittorio being like, "Oh yeah, thought it was making some sort of fucking ground in London, but you know."
Yeah.
But then, you know, his tour show was in Lavery's the other night. It was great.
Yeah, he's coming to Daly's too. Yeah, he's flying. Like. But you knew that even when I watched him that night, because that was my first time seeing him at that Limelight gig, you knew there was something there. Kind of like what you said, they start off.
Yeah,
you know there's something, but it's a great scene for us here.
Oh yeah,
I don't see anywhere else, UK or Ireland, that has what we have.
maybe Liverpool, probably Scotland, or
Maybe.
like Glasgow had it for a while or something like that. I don't know. I mean,
But even Liverpool, man, apart from Paul Smith, which has only recently come up big, who else is doing arenas?
arenas, yeah, I suppose.
You know, we
arenas.
4 fucking. There's you, Shane, Paddy, Kieran,
Paddy Raff.
Mickey will probably head there at some point. He's done the waterfront twice, like so.
Yeah, it's a weird old scene. And there was a guy in Lavery's the other week, and lovely guy, like, but he was like, I'm making a True North documentary about a mate of mine who wanted to try stand up, and we're taking him around different stand up nights, and this guy was like, maybe we could get him out to the green room and all. Well, first of all, he said, I don't want him getting any special treatment because we're making a documentary about him. And he was like, do you reckon he'd get in the green room? And I was like, no, that is special treatment. You fuck right up. The staff don't even get in. You can't. But in the back of my head, I was like, this is not the most interesting stand-up documentary you could be making right now.
No, definitely not.
Do you want to embark on a 10-year documentary with this guy trying to do stand-up?
Yeah.
I was like, why don't you make it about the scene in general?
So are they going to follow him in the premise that he's going to blow up, or are they going to? Is it a 10-year fucking thing?
Exactly, I don't know.
Boyhood?
I think he was just going to like go and witness what was happening and then go and try it.
Right.
And here, no spoiler alert, it'll be fucking shite. Just put your earmuffs. He's gonna eat a buffet of cock with no hands, bro.
Crusty cock at that too.
He's gonna be snorting lines of fucking ground up smeg for the first fucking. He might not ever get good. That's the problem.
That's
Who
the thing,
knows?
yeah.
Who knows?
And I sometimes feel a wee bit jealous of the newer ones coming up now because the scene is so strong.
Oh yeah.
I said this to McCann last week, even about what it was like before things blew up. You'll remember it as well. You know, the fucking the shitty gigs and the fucking.
Well, like Lavery's Comedy Club exists because I could never get on at the Empire.
That's right.
You know,
That's
when
right.
they had that sort of rule where you weren't allowed to gig in Belfast 3 weeks before or
That's right,
after
before
your
or after,
thing.
yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe I'll start something for a bit of stage time.
Yeah.
And then just never really stopped it.
Yeah, I mean that.
When a more sane person would have stopped at a certain point.
The growth of Lavery's, you know, I was obviously when you first started, I was
That's
there.
my nickname.
But when the stage was on the other side, and there wasn't a stage, remember it was on the flat,
Yeah.
just a mic stand, and that was it. You know, it was fucking the changes from then, and then the other side, and you know now where it's at today is fucking unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and it changes every week. Like it gets more and more refined every single week. Like even at this point, like talking about people's experience on a night out. Mm-hmm. Even now, I'm going like, this is too long. You know, like you maybe have 2 50-minute halves. I'm like, it's too much.
Yeah,
Nobody needs this much. Like if it was 40 minutes each half, people would be like, that's fine.
I'm with you on that. I think 80 to 90 minutes for a show is more than enough.
Yeah, like you know, if you
and that's including break.
like if you were watching a football match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you're like, if this whole comedy night was the length of a football match, I'd be happy enough.
And that's, I suppose, your job in that sense, and my job as bookers to make sure that that's flowing right. But then sometimes some fucker will do a bit longer than they should. That's the one thing we don't do an awful lot of here, which is like if you go to the stand or you go to, you're like,
Oh, why?
the microphone will be cut off.
Yeah.
If you're over your fucking 7 minutes, red light's going and you're fucking done. We're not like that, and we maybe is well, it must be to our benefit, I suppose. But
Oh, well, definitely. Like the system of like starting with like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10, 12, 15, 20. We don't really have that over here.
No.
Like if you put on your own night and people come to see you, you could be like, you could close with 25 minutes and you've only done fucking 10 gigs.
yeah,
But people do get, I think it's why it pushes people along a wee bit quicker here. You're afforded more leeway.
yeah, absolutely. Because I remember when I tried Dailies the first time, I went to Chrissy and I was like, "Can I give it a go? I'm going to try it out." And it was a competition thing, and he was like, "Yeah, it's 7 minutes." I was like, "Right, okay." So then my second or third gig was in Belfast, and the guy was like, "Can you do 10 minutes?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Can you do 5?" I was like, "No, I can do 7," because that's all I was told to do. There was no,
Yeah.
But then you know, as you say,
But
you go on.
it goes full circle because you have no concept of time. You need to set your watch, and then you get to the point where you're getting a wee bit good at it, and then you start running over, and then you get more experienced, and you're actually kind of doing quite well with comedy.
Yeah.
And you're like, I will not go over the fucking 30 minutes that you've told me to do.
Absolutely, I'm at the point now.
I'm not going to accidentally do 50 when you told me to do 30. I'll be out of here.
I'll know, like on tour with Murphy, I'll know if something has happened. Say, it happened the other night. Happened Friday night. Marha felt it was right in the middle of a bit, coming towards the end, and a couple came in late, and the whole room could see the couple coming in, and of course, where was the seats in the front row, so they had to come in. So I had to sort of. I delayed the bit over and over, and then said to them, "I'm just doing this till they get their seats." And then when they did that, there was a round of applause, blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of forgot where I was.
Yeah.
You know, because of that, popped me off. And some boy in the front row went, "You're doing rightly." I said, "What the fuck? Is this the fish? Going to come out of here highly commended?" I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" But that notion then, I was like, that knocked me. So I knew in my head, I was like, I'm a minute and a half over. I knew, and I looked in my time. I was like, "Yeah, I'm fucking a minute and a half past
But
where
sure,
I should be."
like, would he give a fuck? Murph give a fuck?
Oh no, there'd be no issue with that. But it's just as you say, you're more conscious of your time.
Yeah.
You're more aware of. I know I've done a minute and a half there, and even though it was only improvised, I knew.
I have a
passed.
weird internal clock now where I could nearly, like, if
Yeah.
I could sort of like go and do a short set and know when it was like 15 minutes and just get off.
Right, that's mighty. Yeah, I haven't got on to the smartwatches thing yet, but
Fuck that.
what I did in the tour was I bought
Get a big pilot watch, big hands on it.
I bought a wee clock, like a digital clock, you know, for the tour, because once I was looking, I knew where I was at, and I was like, I came from Crumlin, didn't get that gig in Crumlin. I was telling you about. Everybody was talking to me and all the crack. My set is 55 to 58 minutes, and it took me an hour and 22 to do it.
Jesus.
Just to deal with all that shit. And I said to Ronan after Ronan Boyle was doing the warm up, I said, if I had had a clock on stage, if I'd have known what time it was, like I've done my hour, I just would have finished it. I wouldn't have ploughed on through to the end. So then I bought a fucking wee clock that I brought for every show.
Did you run over an hour?
Ran over an hour and 22. So an hour and 22. No, 22 minutes over. So like maybe 24 minutes of just dealing with.
Fuck all that carry on.
And it was like that was the boy got up on stage to hug me and all that crack.
Oh, Jesus
I
Christ.
thought it was a Will Smith fucking scenario going to happen.
But here, more importantly,
Cox.
tell me, what do you think the significance of that warning was the other day on your phone when we're getting
fucking
on?
don't do
on
this.
now!
Don't fucking
Come
do this.
on! Jinka drove the whole way down here to talk about comedy. Get me in on it.
Fucking time.
What's the crack? What is it? What's the next message going to pop up on that? Anyone got the sniffles? Get back in the house, you bastard.
The avian flu will be the next one.
Evian flu.
Avian flu. The water's fucking tarnished.
I came out of fucking Sainsbury's and Dairy one time when I was at uni, when bird flu was going around, and I had 2 boxes of Stella and a 6-pack of something else floating on the top of it, and this guy from Radio Foil was like, excuse me, he's like, can we just get your opinion on like avian flu or something? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Fucking neck, I don't give a fuck. Veins coming out of my neck. Come on, the fuck.
I'll carry out the
Help me in
fucking
this
drink.
car, ask me about fucking bird flu.
Give me a hand, please. Fucking
I'm a
bottles.
student, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's fucking shit's going down. All right.
What shit's going down? Right, so, set your wee clock.
Well, yeah. In the last couple of days, so I talked to you about BRICS. No,
What's that?
that's the grinder. BRICS, the BRICS alliance. No,
No.
so Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
Okay.
So they are now spending their own money. They're not using the US petrodollar, which is our currency reserve. And in the last 48 hours, 19 more countries have now signed up to the BRICS alliance. And there's not a fucking word about it anywhere.
What does this mean?
It means the US dollar is dead.
Class.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of money in the bank? Which I assume you do. Get it the fuck out.
It's in punts.
Get it under your mattress.
Well, at the rate I buy trainers, there'll be no money in it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's crazy things going on. I mean, that emergency broadcast thing. It depends on what you listen to. I mean, if you were following the stuff that we went through, the Q stuff, apparently asked to let us know this is when we have to stay indoors. You know. Realistically, you know, I don't know if it's going to be the same as like the weather warnings we get. You know, it's not going to be. I don't think it's that dubious yet. But you know what's going to happen. Like when the next pandemic comes in, that's what's going to be used to let people know you're not allowed out of the house.
I think I think it'll be a fool me once type scenario with a pandemic.
I hope so.
Because I think like.
What we're seeing now, I mean, the U-turns that's happened this last couple of months has been fucking mental.
Like all those people, you know, didn't get vaxxed, didn't do this, didn't travel anywhere. It was a case of like, you do wait long enough, it'll all be back to normal. You know, you won't need any fucking papers or fucking proof of nothing.
Well, although America still hasn't. America still...
Did they not just recently drop that or something?
They're aiming to, I think, next month, May. I think they're talking about it, but they still have. Now, again, I spoke to somebody, I think I might have been McCann, or somebody went to America and said nobody asked anything.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're not on a list somewhere if you have or haven't. I think it would be more the data, I think, is more a big question. Who gave our data to the company that sent out the emergency broadcast text? That should be more of a question. And where is our data on a list that they can just give it to a third party country? They can.
Well, everywhere, sure, you know, you willingly give it away.
Yeah, you do. But I mean, so like O2, E, Vodafone, they all had to have given that across to the government, which is.
Or is it just like access for a second?
They don't normally do a second. Once they get access, they don't fucking leave.
I'll leave that key under the mat.
Yeah, just in case you want to come in. But yeah, so I mean, some of the stuff is Sudan is kicking off. I mean, that's going to be a major. I think that's going to be the starting point of this fear of nuclear war. I don't think we'll ever go to nuclear war, but the fear of it.
Is Sudan not like a fucking just dust bowl?
Sudan is being used another kind of proxy war. The same thing that's happening in Ukraine with Russia and America. So Russia want to put a naval base in Sudan, and Sudan went, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
And then America went, we're
Bring a
not
lot of
fucking...
sandwiches with you.
America went, we're not fucking having that. So this is where this is all coming. There's, even though...
What's a proxy war? Just something to keep you busy? Something,
Yeah, just
something,
keep you
something to
going.
throw money into?
Yeah. It's two countries fighting in another country.
Is that what it is?
Ultimately, yeah, they're using that
And
country
then
as
they use it to drive funds.
to drive either way, yeah. So Ukraine is basically NATO versus Russia. It's not Ukraine versus Russia, it's NATO versus, but yeah, so you're going to see that, but even that's fucking turned around. Zelensky now is, the money's running out.
The interest run out too, you know what I mean? Like it's a bad time to get people to give a fuck.
Did you see Brad Paisley? Do you know the country and western singer in America?
I've heard that name.
Brad, same as I'd heard the name, never knew what he looked like, but I knew he was a country singer.
Ian's other son, is it?
He's in the Maldives. Him and some senator.
No surrender.
Well, you're just fucking. That's bang on what happened. So, apart from the song, the two of them stood at a press conference in the middle of fucking Kiev and allegedly a war zone, and Paisley's got the guitar, and the senator says, "Go on, sing us," and starts singing "Country Roads." Very badly with the sender, and I'm going, what are we? You're in the middle of a fucking war zone, and you've taken out the acoustic guitar at a press conference to fucking sing "Country Roads." Like that, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the coronation next week will be good crack. It'll be good to see where that. Where the Americans and the Russians and all that crack. I mean, will the Americans turn up for their? With Joe Biden, like with Chucky Biden.
Chucky Biden. Mayo for Sam.
Did you see the fucking?
Nobody knows what it means, but it gets the people going.
Did you hear what the senators thought it meant?
What?
That it was code word for fight the Brits.
Oh.
Yeah, because I don't know if somebody from here was trolling fucking US senators or what they were doing, but. These one of the senators shared a link to a Irish Brigade rebel song called the Sam song.
Right.
Surface to air missiles.
Oh.
As Sam. So she took this as being this is what Biden was talking about when he said Mayo for Sam.
Hey, Google it, you stupid bitch.
The amount of Irish
like
people,
anyone would just tell you that, you
the amount
fucking
of
idiot.
Irish people underneath it went, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Mayo is a county and Sam is a cup. That didn't matter to them. The conspiracy head was no. He's
like what I mean, like
he's code word with the Brits.
Like just ask someone.
So simple. And that's when you know they're trolling like fuck. They didn't take it down.
Yeah.
They let all these people fucking have a like you just love the clicks over there. But Al Muskie, he's doing some fucking turn. What about the SpaceX launch the other day?
I don't know. I've been fucking doing 9 podcasts a week. I haven't seen anything.
He launched the heaviest and biggest rocket that's ever been launched outside of Fentanyl.
Outside of these shorts.
I didn't want to say your shorts because I'm going to look down in there.
It's up my ass right now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he released that, or he launched that, and like it blew up in the sky. But it was kind of not unheard of to do that. It was kind of half expected.
Okay.
The biggest job was to get it launched.
Yeah.
And the fact that the payload it was lifting was so fucking... Because basically this is the step towards people being on the fucking...
Mars.
Going to Mars. But of course what happened? So the thing went up. You can see the footage. It gets real high up close to the atmosphere or whatever, the end of the sky. And then it starts doing a tailspin and then commentating over blah, blah, and then it explodes. What happened? Flat earthers right away. It hit the firmament.
Oh, right. Oh, my God.
It hit the dome. That's why it exploded, and it couldn't go any further. And then it just fucking went everywhere, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, Jesus. Oh, instead of focusing on the fact, fuck, we have made a giant step here of being able to launch this rocket without exploding.
It hit the window like a...
like a doom.
Yeah, like a bird flying in your conservatory. This fucking whatever fucking million ton, whatever the fuck it is.
Exactly, the weight of it on it. You're like, holy fuck. But that's, yeah, and then, but the Twitter thing with the blue checks. So he removed all the verification, obviously. So you have to pay for your verification now.
Okay.
So every celebrity
Yeah.
lost their blue check.
Okay.
And then they all lost their fucking minds about the thought of having to pay $8 for it. And I'm like, some of these are multi-millionaire fucking Hollywood stars who can't afford $8 to pay it. So then he gave them all back randomly there at the weekend. But he also fucking added back, this is going to be, talk about conspiracy theory, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jackson, Anthony Bourdain, and somebody else all received their blue checks back again on their Twitter account. Now, I don't know if that was just a pure mistake, which it probably is, most likely. But of course, the conspiracy ones are going, oh, they are alive. They're not dead.
Have you seen the fucking
So that's
autopsy
fun.
thing of Kobe Bryant?
No.
It's fairly disturbing.
Oh, is it?
There'd be like a coroner's like diagram where there's like a body and they sort of roughly, like if your arm fell off, they'll just scrape away the arm, no arm, blah, blah, blah. They make all the notes, and Kobe Bryant's like little diagram is just mangled, like, severed here, severed this, burns, broken, everything's broke, fucking head half off.
Yeah, a helicopter crash would do that.
Yeah, pretty disturbing, like.
But yeah, that's what, and then it's back to the thing we always say on here, with me and Mickey, is that somebody's doing that on purpose. You know what I mean? Somebody is feeding the fucking.
Oh yeah.
They're feeding the madness. They're allowing it to sort of get to, even the firmament thing.
I'm telling you, like,
instead of taking that down, it's allowed to spread.
See, fucking with people on the internet, like, it can be as small as a spelling mistake. Like, you could make a post and and write something under it in the captions, and you've spelled it wrong, and you'll have 20 people tell you that you've spelled it wrong instead of like.
Agree with what you said.
We could put up we could put up a Lavery's poster and it sells away, it sells out, it's grand. But if you want real interaction, put the wrong date on the wrong day. Oh, do you not mean Thursday? And it'll say it 60 times, and you're like,
do you not think, because somebody told me recently that is done on purpose?
What?
Because of the behaviour of people.
Oh yeah.
Some people are putting the mistakes in on purpose.
Well, that's what I mean.
Then, but so you're saying to get
that's how
the
small it could be,
interaction.
but to get people like, fucking DiCaprio on that, to get people like tuned in, and it's something like just hits them in the fucking in the reptile brain where it's like, that's wrong. This isn't the same as the other pattern. I need to like that. Twitter runs on pure hate, like, the whole thing is
I love what Musk is doing, because he's exposing the whole thing for being what it is, which is a fucking,
and just letting it be a fucking
let it be a
sewer,
cesspit,
like,
and then it'll eventually die out.
like I will, like, if I open my Twitter, I nearly have to like do it privately, like, what the fuck is gonna be the first thing I see? And it's literally like, guy coming off a motorbike at fucking 200 mile an hour into a wall, and then someone getting their head kicked in, and then a big pair of tits, and then fucking.
Well, I said that recently. That's just your algorithm, by the way. But that's what I said recently. Lesbians was trending one night, right?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Always. But genuinely, and it was just on a UK trending, so I thought, I wonder what the fuck's. So I clicked on it thinking there's obviously something to do with LGBTQ or whatever, or some. And it was just video after video of fucking scissor sisters. And I'm like, what the fuck? So that's any child can see. Just click on that, and then there's no filter. There's no, at least porn site, you have to go and look for the porn. But on Twitter, it's just fucking.
It's just giving it to you. Well, that's what I mean. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're
You have
opening.
no idea what you're going to be looking at.
And all it takes is you to pause on it for a second for it to go, he likes this, here's more.
That's more, yeah. Or to rewatch it 3 times, I get it. No, I wouldn't.
Rubbing them vinegar lids.
That's when they pop out.
Clean off you.
Well, listen, thank you very much for coming in, and
No bother.
it's been deadly.
Are you doing questions?
We're going to do questions now.
Aye.
Yeah, if that's all right. Yeah,
Lovely
so we
job.
have questions. Oh, we do it all in one. That's what we'll do. Well, that's right. We agreed to do that, so we'll not finish off.
We're vaping in here or what?
Aye, go on ahead, Mickey. You started the whole craze now, so he never.
It's good enough for Rogan, it's good enough for me.
He never smoked the whole time we'd done the podcast, but as soon as he got a vape in, he's vaping the whole way through it. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. Right. So we'll start.
Questions.
Did
Did you get a lot of these made, did you?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
You want one?
I mean, I never smoke weed, but
It's always nice to have.
it's nice. Give me one of them cartridges. I'll pay you through the nose.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Ink cartridges.
Of course, yeah, for your fountain pen. Right. Any update on who's doing the Devonish with you and Bartlett? Are you doing Devonish?
Yeah, on Sunday, yeah.
Oh, is this? Oh, right.
I don't know. Is there a secret guest or something?
Don't know. Just any update on who's doing
Dare I say Paddy and William? You know what I mean? I'm going to throw that out
it's
there,
probably
but you know
gonna
what I mean?
with Tommy McCarthy probably. You know what I mean? That's
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the Westies. Well, and Butler probably.
Yeah, Butler's
it'll be
probably
a West fucking invasion. Right, when is the Bomb Squad merch coming out?
Probably soon. I think we're gonna go like hats or something first, just because it's you don't have to fuck with sizes and shit like that there.
Nice.
But it's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
We started with a merch and the name, work backwards. That's what we did.
Mighty. We can't. We are fucking useless, as you know.
Merch is a bad term.
It's a hard thing to deal with as well. Like it's if you don't have an eye for it, and none of us two have an eye for it. So
Like
then
you're dealing with like, you know, I do like hats and trainers and shit like that.
Yeah.
I did design at uni. I've always had an interest in like graphic design and fucking streetwear and all. So you can turn it over
clearly
into
shows like that.
you can turn it over quite easy.
Well, them skills are transferable onto this, definitely.
And
I mean,
we
if
have
can
like
have
a Seamus, who is the designer, lives in London. I work with on everything near enough now.
Mighty.
It all just comes out fucking top notch.
Give me Seamus' number. Right, Colin, if you could choose one clothing or shoe brand to sponsor your podcast for the rest of your days, who would it be? And you can only wear their brand once they sponsor you. So you have to wear their brand from now on. Now, somebody else has come in and guessed for you and said, I'm going to guess Big Geddis is a Nike man. But I wouldn't have put you as Nike now.
You see, it's an interesting question, Connor, because you've to think of a brand that's going to make good clothing and shoes.
Yes, and you have to wear it all the time, you know.
So it nearly probably would be a Nike or something. Although I'm absolutely obsessed with New Balance shoes at the minute.
I just bought a pair yesterday myself.
Did you? Did you? You have to send me a pic.
We 574s.
574. Bro, gonna have to look and see what that is. I bought a pair too. For ludicrous. Looks like a packet of highlighters. 574 New Balance. The big flumpy ones.
Aye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Love it.
Good job. Probably. I'm gonna say Nike because they do enough collaborations with people that you could really mix it up.
Yeah, mix it up a bit, yeah. And they like fat man sizes too. So your man wasn't wrong then, but then Nike.
Plus size athlete.
Yeah. Afternoon, gents. Colin, I just subscribed to your Patreon, making my way through the extras. Here, what's the deal with ramen and where do I go to try it? Connor, I had my first comedy night in Daly's for Paddy's show. It was class wee room. The crack was mighty. Now, I saw a man there on Saturday night and I swear he was a spit of you, the hair and everything. Was your brother at Paddy's show? Thanks, gents. Have a good one.
None of your brothers look like you, did they?
No, because that was me. Was the hair and everything? That was me. I was at Paddy's show, so yeah, I'd come in a bit late, but I was down in Strabane with Murphy. But yeah, I was there. So what's the deal with ramen? I tried to make it for the first time there about 2 weeks ago.
Making it's tough, like trying to get it right in the
That
house.
broth has to be fucking
Yeah.
reduce.
Reduce.
Where would you go? I had it for my first time, you see, in Wagamama, which is not a great spot to try it for the first time, but
It's alright. Like
where anywhere in Belfast you would?
you could go to Kamakura, very pricey, but it's decent. Sakura, which is another like Japanese place.
Are these all in Belfast?
These are all in the one fucking 100-meter circle.
Right.
But the new one, which me and McCann went to by accident, the Sushi Cafe, which is very unassuming, kind of looks like shit actually. And we just popped in to go before Lavery's one day, and he was eating, and I was kind of like, I'll just get a fucking drink or something, and then I ended up looking at the menu and being like, oh fuck, I'll give this a crack actually.
Hard to beat that.
The sushi was good, and they do their different types of ramen, but one's like sirloin, the other one's roast pork, and the other one's chicken. And I mean, it's like a full fucking flame grilled steak chopped up on the ramen.
Fucking
noodles are good. The pork's lethal.
Jesus,
but
that'd be a lot.
the guy has a proper like hibachi. Is that what the fuck you call it? Hibachi.
thing,
It's like
yeah.
a wee charcoal fire in the kitchen, which you can just see. So all the meat's properly like barbecued. No, it's fucking banging. But it's full of fucking Chinese people.
Book me. That's all. Yep.
Yeah.
Always the key thing.
And
Book
they're-
me in for
and
Lavery's
they're
just to get
all
up to, just so I could try that.
If I had to guess, I was trying to break down the scenario in the shop. I think the da is Japanese and the ma's Chinese,
Right.
and the son is like front of house.
The sun is fingless.
Yeah, it's great though. It's fucking great.
Maybe.
And then the guy was telling me that they'd had people in because I talked about it. He's like, "Oh, you guys are comedians now?" I'm like, "Oh, like, get the fucking noodles out and shit."
Still charge you, but.
Oh, did I?
Oh, I know rightly. Right, hey lads, what merch will be available at the Telegraph Live Pod? Also, are you happy with how the new material is going down in advance of a big show later in the year? When you kind of already
asked
said
that? It's very specific.
It is very specific.
Joe Dugan, who asked that?
Joe's checking it. How's your set coming on for the end of the year? That was Dean. Was once in a
Dean,
while.
well, it's if I'm filming in August, I think I'm in a fucking pretty good place right now.
Yeah, well, you said 40 minutes already.
40
so holy
minutes,
fuck.
and like, you know, some of the stuff, you know, you're trying to do like the silly jokes and making fun of yourself a wee bit, and then some of them you're like, that's a fucking good joke. You know, you're like, that's a good bit. But it's painful. Like, it's painful to get there. You have to say things out loud to the crowd and be like, I'm sorry. And then you find a way to like figure it out, and then it gets a bit better, and then you go, now we're talking.
I hate that first time of anything new.
I have a bit about trans women in women's sports, and being like, you know, think whatever you want to think. It's kind of like, you know, some people think it's unfair, whatever. They have to compete somewhere, you know. And then I was going to be like, I feel discriminated against when trans women are in women's sports, and I was like, because none of these cunts are bald yet. When am I going to get represented by the trans women in sports? They're all in there with their full hair and their fucking fat cock and their tits. There's no Phil Mitchells on the starting line of the fucking 200-meter breaststroke.
And it should be aerodynamic and all that, right?
Never mind your swim cap. Go bald. Go male pattern bald like me.
Yeah.
But saying that in front of the wrong crowd,
I
they're
know.
like,
Did you see the trans woman who's in UFC? Who
Fallon Fox, like back in the day.
was it? More recently, no. Fox rings a bell, right enough.
Fallon Fox. It was never in the UFC. It was that's the one where Joe Rogan got in a load of shit because he was basically going like this, and this girl is fucking people up, like,
Yeah.
going in full fucking knees to the head, smashing people on the
That's
floor.
what I'm on about. So this trans woman fractured some girl's skull, but then a woman came in the next fight, or I don't know if it's next fight or another fight, and battered the trans woman.
Yeah.
So I mean, it basically it negated the rule of a man can't compete, and you're like,
The
well, a woman
problem
just
was-
fucking bit the fuck out of
The
this.
problem was at the time that person was competing and not telling anybody that they were trans.
Oh, right, I
And
didn't
then
know
Joe
that.
Rogan went off on the full thing. He was like, if you grow up with the benefit of testosterone,
Yeah.
you end up with the structure of a man. So your bone density's more.
Yeah, physiologically,
Like your
really.
tendons are thicker. Men's reaction speed overall is about 10% quicker than a woman's.
Right.
Across the board on average. So you're benefiting from all that and then transitioning and not really telling anybody. This is obviously a small, fairly chunky man.
But part of me, I'm thinking reaction time. You should see how quick my wife reacts when I fuck up the scatter cushions. Like, that's a reaction time that you
I
never
try
see.
smacking her. see how slow that head movement
Oh
is?
no, I have to stop that now in modern age. You
Joking,
know?
but like, yeah, just for like testosterone's fairly powerful gear. Like if you've got more of it than someone else.
I always liked the idea. Like, I remember Robin Williams used to do a bit about it. About, you know, he was talking about the Olympics and the drug testing, and he's like, why not just give them all the drugs they want?
Oh, absolutely.
Have the drug Olympics. See how fast we can do the 10 seconds. See how fast we can do the 100 meters. Somebody just does it in 3.2 seconds. It'll be fucking unreal.
But you know where's the cutoff? 'Cause
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
if
It's
they-
same as this. Like, where do you...
say
The good thing about fighting, I suppose, is, unlike the comedians boxing, fighting is normally based on weight. So at least, you know, they're going to be in the same weight category. But as you say, there's always that sort of added
Here,
advantage.
like even the UFC, like they have a caffeine cutoff. So if they test you and your caffeine is over a certain amount,
Was that for caffeine? Does it?
that counts as a thing. So people will just take like 2 Pro Plus and it'll stay at a certain level.
That's
But
why
you-
I'm never been going to be a UFC
But you
fighter.
can't be like slamming monsters all day or something. But or it looks like you're trying to cover up taking something else or something like that. But sure, even if they went like, this is the amount of caffeine you have, everyone's going to take that much caffeine. If they introduced like, okay, you can have your testosterone at a certain level. A lot
Everyone's
of
gonna push that
fighters will test low because they're exhausted after like 12 weeks of training. So their testosterone might seem low. So you
then
could
they
be
pick,
training like fuck, and
yeah.
they go, say you're allowed, I don't know what the measurements are, like it's usually just the number is 20.
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking bring yourself up to 20
And then naturally come up
from wherever the
again,
fuck
yeah.
you are. And then people will cheat at that point. So it's like you gotta say you have to say you're not allowed anything.
Yeah.
Because people will take up to the line
Yeah.
and beyond secretly.
Yeah,
But
no,
I'm
it
all
does be-
for it. You know what I mean? You see Brock Lesnar when he came back in,
Yeah,
or when he
absolutely.
tried it years ago, and he definitely benefited from a few fucking Mexican
Oh,
supplements.
absolutely. I would love to see it. Yeah, absolutely. Right, more of an apology than a question that has come about thanks to my experience of now being a Patreon and learning about event decorum during your ramblings. I first heard Yumz at a gig in Brickworks a couple of years back, and then again a few months later at a charity night in Sandino's. On the first night, you did a gag about a traveller friend of yours and him questioning whether his dole had been deposited. At the second gig, and in all my excitement, I called out that very line on your way to the stage. Connor, where's my wages? And was told by your good self to fuck up, and rightly so. I don't remember that. I was new to the scene, and I had busted the 2-drink gig rule by quite a few. I also learned that the same gag can be thrown into new sets at later dates, and a quick rethink may have been needed, as you stated, started your set. Won't happen again. Conscience is clear now. Well, thanks for that. That had to be 5 years ago. It took you long enough to apologise. Very strange. Colin, any chance of a live podcast down here in Dublin? That's obviously going to be fun.
Had thought about doing the Academy,
Oh, nice. Great venue too.
and then we've sort of announced that gig.
And bigger
The
seats.
Academy's not a lot of seats, like, you know, it's a big venue if you were standing.
Aye, well, even at that, it's
But
smallest
seated,
venue. of the
seated
place,
it's
yeah.
about 240 or something like that.
Yeah,
But I would love to, yeah.
nice one. Yeah, you heard it here first. Well, Connor, just back from the dam. Jesus, what a city. I went as a couples group holiday. I wouldn't be a big smoker. I found some of the coffee shops a bit intimidated. Enjoyed the lower key ones. All round deadly place. Would go back in the morning. Question for the two of you: what city in the world has impressed you the most?
Impressed me.
Amsterdam's going to be my thing, but I'll take Amsterdam out of that.
Impressed me. I don't know, like the time we were in Vietnam, I was just like, this is fucking class.
Yeah.
Because it's so, you know, like, you could go to like numerous cities in America or Europe, and they're all there'd be some sort of sameness.
Yeah.
Whereas like
I get it, yeah.
we were in like fucking Ho Chi Minh, I was like, this is
Is it
wild,
see,
man. This
I
is
have
fucking wild.
I have an aversion to heading to any of those countries. I don't have any, but Vietnam would be the one if I was to choose out of all of them.
great,
But is
like-
it like
It's not a comfortable trip. Like, it's fucking roasting and
Yeah.
stinking and noisy, but it feels like another world. That's why I liked it.
Yeah.
It's like totally. And then you know you're like, man, I feel so free out here. And then I walk past this shop and someone's like, Barry. It actually
way.
happened. It happened about
In Vietnam?
It happened about 3 times.
oh fuck?
I was walking. I was in Hoi An or something, which is like like if you watch like a tourist video for Vietnam, they go to Hoi An. There's a wee street with all these lanterns, and it's lovely. And all I hear is these flip flops coming down the street behind me, like running. And this guy's like, "Well, Colin, I seen you on Instagram. You're here, oh fuck here, lad." And he was trying to sell me he was trying to tell me he's like, "Oh, they'll just sell you Valium in the pharmacy, and I'll take them on the plane." That's great. It's like, can I not go
Go
anywhere?
nowhere. Go fucking nowhere. Where did it happen? I seen a video. Was it Long Beach, California, or somewhere like
Yeah, like a Santa
some
Monica.
boys cycling past you?
Yeah.
Or you were cycling?
I
You
was
were past
cycling,
it?
he shouted something.
Fucking unbelievable.
Mad,
Mental.
like.
I don't. I've done most of the American ones, you know, but I think Boston probably was the most impressive, just because it was a lot smaller than Chicago, New York, and that sort of thing. You know, it was.
I gotta say, like, you know, Mickey and Shane, a bunch of ones have went and done those American tours and McCann's away and stuff, and I was like right on the cusp of sorting that out before lockdown, and then, you know, the whole bullshit
Yeah,
and Maury and all, just completely forgot about it, and only now, and then after lockdown, that year was so busy, and only now am I going like, right, I need to settle down and get a wee visa so I can
yourself
go and
sorted,
do. There's no doubt I could do fucking
fuck.
cool gigs in Boston and all.
Yeah, the amount of expats from here,
Yeah.
like, and Chicago as well.
Chicago, New York is a fucking no-brainer.
So yes, Amsterdam's always going to be the most impressive, just for its facilities and
been to Canada?
amenities. No interest. Never had a.
You don't want to go to fucking Vancouver and just smoke your brains
It's
away?
just a quiet America. Nah, I can go to America and smoke my brains away. You know what I mean? It's no.
Ah, true.
Yeah, I can.
That camera's flashing. Is that all right?
I was telling you the cover up them fucking big balls there. Right, what do you think about the Prime Minister being investigated over the recent childcare scheme, as Rishi's wife is a shareholder in a childcare company and will likely profit from it? I don't know. Haven't looked at it. We'll have to go and investigate that. We'll maybe put that into a Just Rabbit and on. Right.
Cunts, the load of them.
The whole fucking lot of them.
Every fucking...
And Sunak is, like, he is beyond loaded.
Aye.
Like, he's more money than the fucking king.
The wife's beyond loaded, and the parents are beyond loaded.
Serious money.
And he's the brown partridge. Isn't he?
I wouldn't be surprised he drives a Lexus.
It's a Lexus, you big spastic. Have you seen fucking... I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but he was like, you know, like talking to some tradesman, and he was all like, "Oh, lads," you know, he was going off,
like, trying to get off, going all straight and all that.
Yeah,
there's nothing more cringy than that. To watch some rich Tory cunt trying to fucking be a man of the people. Oh, fuck away.
But there's something annoying about him being like a person of color, you know, like, and he's like the white guy that joins ISIS. He's more extreme than the other fucking big-eared Tory cunts. And
I think that's more, I suppose it's more our racism, isn't it? You just think, well, you shouldn't be that way because you're a person of color. But you're like, why? A Tory's a cunt, no matter what.
Here, once it's in you.
Right, all right, lads, a two-part question, if I may be so cheeky. One, Connor, do you prefer a straight blunt, or is there a bit of backy in there? Curious for when I eventually get tickets to see you and bring a gift with me. Good man. And also, are you guys going to be doing any merch again anytime soon? I actually just managed to get myself a General Banter beanie, but would love some Deck Chair and Yumz merch to complete the ensemble. No, there'll be no merch anytime soon, apart from our lighters and grinders. That's a lighter, by the way. That's supposed to be. It's just a broke one. That's why we put it there. Tobacco all the way. I can't. You would, if you were ever to imbibe, would you take a pure or take a
pure probably? But pure. I've had too many fucking horror stories. But
they are rough when it's pure. Like, I can't take it because I'm not.
You're not really smoking it. You know, you're not doing any smoking. You're just lighting it and going and fucking putting it out because it's too much. In one go. Like, but
real big.
I want some hash. That's what I want.
Hashish is the way to go. Yeah, absolutely, definitely more mellow version. Like, yeah. Right, is Yumz going to make an appearance on Mudblood, same as Butler did, to clear up the material stealing shit going about? No, Paddy took out the clip, so the clip's now gone of him mentioning me. He didn't take out Butler, in fairness. He kept Butler's in.
Bit of drama.
But, he took mine out. Well, mainly because I had said to him, just on Saturday night at Daly's, or last Saturday, I said, listen, since I rang you, there's 2,000 more people have watched that. And you're clearly stating, even though you clearly state you haven't heard it, but you clearly state my name a couple of times that he does it. I'm like, please take that out, because I don't want people to think that of me.
I wouldn't worry too much.
But yeah, I thought Butler was perfect in what he did. You know, just went.
And he only lives around the corner. Like, you'd have to drive for fucking.
I'm not going. I will go up to Mudblood podcast as a guest, but if I go on there, I'm not going to fucking talk about that stuff. That's not going to be so. Yeah. Stop trying to cause rows. You hear you? Right. What do you miss most from your lives before becoming parents? Well, you had a lot more to miss than I did. I was 22, like, so I didn't have. I had 4 years of an adulthood.
Nothing, because you do become a better part. The only thing you are is more knackered. But like, what the fuck are you gonna do anyway?
More knackered, but also then more organised. Your time was more. Yeah, you know what your time is now.
I did enjoy a bit of a sporadic event of any kind. Yes. You know, like, sun comes out, fuck, mum will go on the piss, fuck it. You know, things like that.
I miss that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's really about it.
I mean,
I've never done more in my life than I have since I had a child.
Yeah, it hasn't stopped you from doing it. Yeah, it's not going to stop. But my thing was, one thing I do miss is because I married a hairdresser. So so from 2004 until to this day, I don't have a Saturday.
Right.
Hairdressers, all busiest day of the week is Saturday, so every Saturday I'm with child or children in the case may be. So I miss a Saturday. I used to love a Saturday, even just to fucking to wander about the town or even go for pints or whatever. But that's all I would miss. There's nothing else really.
There's a big part of doing stand up, or being a comedian that requires a lot of just sitting around faffing about. you know.
Absolutely. Do you find that it's difficult to get in? This is the one thing I find difficult, maybe because our scenario with Ruby is a bit different than most, but trying to get into headspace for a gig,
Oh yeah.
you need to have that breakaway, you know. So you,
Every gig I do now, I'm like fucking doing star jumps backstage, trying to fucking give myself some energy.
yeah, just to get the fucking. But even like the prep leading up, you know,
Yeah.
I even though I know it's the same set I'm going to be doing, I still need to have like give me peace for an hour just
Yeah.
till I get that fucking.
Yeah, I never get it.
Nah.
And see, to be fully honest, I wouldn't take it if I had it,
Well, I've started.
because I'm wild for like I'll not do the thing unless the fire is like touching my arse.
Ah, right, yeah.
Even though all day I've been going, I need 5 minutes to myself. I wouldn't take it if it was fucking free all day.
Yeah, well, that's true. No, what I've done now, I just sometimes add an hour on to the start of the gig. What time's the gig started? 7:30.
Oh yeah, when you're bluffing.
Yeah, it's 8:30. Like, but you have an hour in the car to go.
I know.
Things you have to do to lie to your children. I had to go here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Well, man, if you had to pack up and move to another country, where would you go? Also, cheers to Colin for getting me onto Yellowstone. She's some show. I haven't watched it yet. Wife watched it now. She said it was great.
It's great. It is great. Like
I'm building up the Succession episodes to binge them. Apparently,
Yeah.
this new season's fucking amazing.
would like to watch some of that.
Have you seen any of it?
Started it, yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Where would you move to?
Where would I move to? I've one place left. I don't know if you have. Do you have like a bucket list of places you want to go to? Or
Yeah, there's plenty
Yeah.
of places I would like to go.
no,
like.
I say I've only one left. I've nowhere else I've interest on this planet. So New Orleans is the only place I've.
New Orleans.
Yeah, it's the only place I want to. Or New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Um,
Let's go. It's, the world's small enough. We'll
That's
go
the
for
thing.
4
yeah.
days.
I had thought about. I have family in Indiana, so I thought about going to see them for a week and then doing a week in New Orleans, but because that's just for the music and the food.
There's
in
plenty
New
of
Orleans,
places in America I'd like to go. I've never been to New York, which is absolutely ludicrous.
but- Oh, I've been. Oh, okay. Well, I was on my list and I did
New York,
2018.
Nashville, New Orleans, San Francisco.
Said I did Vegas, Boston, Chicago, New York, and and even obviously in the Midwest and Indiana. But then you're into Ohio and fucking all them. So I've done all that. I just haven't done LA. That's the only
There's
big
loads
city.
of, like I
but
would love to just go to fucking Japan for no reason. I'd love to go to like Tokyo or something just for
I'd
the
love to go
fucking
for
weirdness of it.
the technology as well and all
Yeah,
the
the
fucking
tech.
some of the stuff they're doing at the moment is fucking unbelievable.
The one place that has never really fucking drawn me in is Australia. I know
interest.
everybody moves there and everyone loves it, but I've never been like fucking get me to Australia.
I
man.
have zero. I never had.
I'd rather go to New Zealand. I'd love to go to New
Any
Zealand.
of the two, I don't know why. Don't ask me. I just don't have any interest, and there's nothing I want to see there. There's nothing I want to.
Did I tell you I got a message from a proper Maori guy one
right.
time? Did I tell you that?
No.
It was when Maureen was sick and she'd put up a thing on the internet about it. And this guy, I mean, like full fucking one of them boys and all,
yeah.
sent me a message and he was putting in all the wee Maori like terminology and all. This means family and this means whatever and health and prayer and all this here. And I was like, man, that is fucking awesome. And I clicked in. I was like, how the fuck is this cunt listening to my podcast? Like, and I click in. The wife, ginge as fuck, see-through ginger, obviously like from here, traveling. And fucking, runs into this Maori guy.
It's amazing the fucking how the links are made. Like it's.
My wife, Siobhan.
I tell you, we go everywhere. Why? You find us anywhere.
Can't take us anywhere.
Right. Here's one for just wrapping on. Maybe fuck this. Usually I fucking. I transported a load of expired PCR COVID tests today, manufactured in June 2020, expired March 2023. I moved them from Glasgow to a massive warehouse in Bury that can hold 25,000 pallets. They are currently at 50% capacity and are expecting more. The government is paying to keep them there until they can dispose of them somehow. Makes you wonder how many PCRs were bought and how many were used and what the cost to the taxpayer was. There was serious fucking transfer of wealth during this whole pandemic between PCR tests, PPE fucking protection, and then the vaccines. A lot of people made a lot of money. Serious fucking money. And now they're being like Partridge when he's pulping his book. They're being pulped in a fucking warehouse in Bury. So yeah, I don't know. It's so fucking strange how they.
PCR test and Bud Light. Getting flattened.
That's right, fuck's sake. Bud Light fucking 17% people listen to this, their ears will perk up at the number 17. Yeah, Bud Light sales are down 17%. 17. In the space of like a week and a half or something, which is quite fucking mental. There's some other company has gone through something, Bed Bath and Beyond. Bed Bath and Beyond.
They'd have Caitlyn Jenner and
no, they did a
naked in a bed.
Mike Lindell, you know the My Pillow guy,
Right.
who is like a big Trump supporter.
Right.
He's basically, I always say he's American Mattress Mick.
Okay.
Right. He has a My Pillow company, and Bed Bath and Beyond, in the middle of all the madness, 2021 said we're not stocking. So basically, half the population, we don't care about you because obviously one half's Republican. We're not going to stock this guy's products and all the rest. And day before yesterday, they had to file for bankruptcy.
I just don't understand why
a business would take that gamble of alienating any customer.
Why does it have to be politicized?
Yeah. Well, they're paying for it now. They literally are bankrupt. But it's just people just went, oh, well, fuck you then, because you made it political. Instead of just let me go and buy a fucking blanket or a pillow, you know.
Yeah.
If I don't like this guy, I'll not buy it.
Yeah, that's
but
the
you
thing.
coming
like
up, you stand up and saying, we're not going to stock
every item in your house is a fucking statement.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm putting my head on a goddamn fucking bed of nails tonight. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, this scatter cushion was ethically sourced.
I refuse to drink this fizzy piss because I don't agree with the fact that trans people exist.
Right, this was a question, and we kind of already answered it last week. Who is going to be the first Northern Ireland comedian on Rogan? We said you.
Me?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be you or Shane.
That'll be Shane, like.
Don't know. Could Shane handle Rogan?
I don't know what the chat would
I was
be
going
like.
to say, what would they have in common to talk about?
Joe, you like tea?
You know, you've got the fucking, obviously, the interest in the UFC. You've got, obviously, the
I could chat to
podcast.
Rogan, no bother.
Yeah,
like.
you have a fucking...
But I don't think it's a thing you could, like, force.
No. I think
you know what I mean? I think you'd have to, like...
Let's be honest.
You know, I could see, like, when me and McCann were in Austin and messaged a few places, and you were just straight in the door of, like, some of the, like, Creek in the Cave and clubs that are, like, the main clubs over there, and did well. Standard wasn't that fucking good, but, there's a couple of ringers over here that you could, do you know what I mean? Like, you could go over and book a few spots and absolutely fucking rip it, and people will probably be like, hey, these fucking big lumps of shite walking in here, and,
To be honest, I mean, McCann's probably the closest.
McCann,
because Joe Rogan actually fucking mentioned him.
Yeah, because McCann, like...
And McCann is one of those cunts.
No,
that
McCann,
will get anywhere.
I'll take it all back. He'll be the first on. And, yeah, because, like, literally, he's done Kill Tony that much. Yeah. And then he happened to be in Austin for an extra day last time we were there. And he said he just went to the show, and Hinchcliffe was like, fucking come on around the back and all. Like, so if you're talking about the degrees of separation, it could well be him.
That's why he didn't say himself last week. He just said you.
No, it wouldn't be me. But he'll be on there.
Well, I would have. I genuinely
Joe
thought.
Will be like, so what are you up to? And he'll be like, the Maz won't let me watch the TV shows I want to watch in the house here.
Did you ever eat in the Colmore Diner, Joe? Wild feed, sir. Wild feed.
Wild feed.
Right. Well, lads, when was the last time either of you turned something off in disgust, anger, or through fear? Football, a couple of days ago.
Yeah, like a TV show, is that what you mean?
Yeah, and disgust, I've turned off something if it's been shit.
Yeah.
But nothing would ever offend me. Like, I would never look at something and go, oh my God, that's offensive, turned off. In fact, the more offensive it is, I'm probably going to watch it.
Offended? I mean, I was at that Always Sunny podcast the other day, and had I not been with Maureen and, her sister and her husband, I'd have been like, get in the car. I was like, this is shit.
Where was that?
3 Arena, packed out. And they just sat there and played clips from the show that everyone in the arena had already seen, and being like, look how good we are. What about Guinness, eh? Yeah. I was just like, this is shit.
No way. Who was on it?
Rob McElhenney, Charlie Day, Glenn, what's his tits? Yeah. And then at the end, they brought out the wife. And the place went nuts.
Who's the wife?
Caitlin Olsen, D, from Always Sunny.
Aye, but who's wife of who?
Rob McElhenney. They're married.
Get the fuck, never knew that.
For years, kids and all that.
Oh, I never knew. I knew there had to be some link with them, yeah.
Yeah, they're married.
Mad. And I'd say McElhenney and fucking Reynolds are still fucking partying at this stage. Wrexham being promoted. Fucking unbelievable. Did you watch that documentary? Did you?
I've seen a few episodes of it. Yeah,
It was quite good actually.
there's only so much of you can listen to Americans being, like,
Yeah.
man, they drew fucking, or they'll be like, it's 0-0, dude.
0-0.
The football court hasn't dried out from the bad rain they got.
The goalkeeper in the end zone is
The goalie.
the goalie. So I haven't really, or fear. I've never turned anything off of fear. Have you ever turned
Oh, God,
off
it's going to go to penalty kicks.
That is fear. Have you ever turned, like a horror film ever got you and I can watch that? No?
Nah, not really.
I was very close during
I've only ever seen about 2 good horror films. You know what I mean?
The Babadook, is it? The Babadook?
Babadook, that was trash.
It was, but it was a fucking freaky shit.
The first time I watched The Conjuring, I near shit my fucking pampers. Like, that was scary shit.
Yeah. But again, I wouldn't turn it off. Just turn the light on.
Turn all the lights on. I was like, yeah, do you fancy a cup of tea? Do all 60s want to come with me? Because I got killed in this kitchen.
Lads, you have to give up one for good. Coffee or alcohol? Who gets the boot?
Alcohol.
Alcohol all day.
Yeah. I'm
no
done with
question.
drinking.
Aye.
I haven't drank in the last 5 years, and it was worth it.
Oh no, I've had a few. Do you know what? That comedian's night.
That was
I
great.
genuinely had a fucking great night out that night. I thought fucking that was worth the hangover, even though I drove down the road the next day when I probably shouldn't have.
Fair enough.
Good evening, man. Do any of you have any really specific pre-stand-up or pre-podcast rituals? If so, what are they? Cliche question, I know, but it's my first time writing to you since I signed up for Patreon. You're very welcome. We always like first-timers. P.S. I'd also like to let you both know I've caught my father watching both General Banter and Deck Chair and Yumz on YouTube. It was a proud day. Well, Joanne, tell your father. Thank you very much. That's unreal.
Good, man.
Any specific pre-stand-up or pre-podcast rituals?
There's plenty of rituals I would love to have that I don't do.
The thoughts of counselling.
If I had perfect scenario for running into a gig, it would probably start from about midday, and it would be like, I'll sort my set out, I'll do a punishing workout, I will have a nap, I'll eat something, I'll fucking
all of that was fine apart from the workout.
but it takes the nerves away, you know what I mean?
That's true, yeah.
But then perfectly rested and stretched out, and you've your set ready from midday, and then be driven to a gig where you don't have to concentrate on driving, and then go on in. But none of that shit happens.
Nah.
You know what I mean? You're firing fucking 9 flat whites into you. You're trying to decide whether you actually do need a shit or not. Too many people are talking in the green room, and you're like, "We shut the fuck up." They try and write this fucking bullshit on a page, and I'm gonna remember anyway.
I would love the. Basically, you want to have the Kevin Hart. Straight out. That's it. I don't have any. I do a couple of like vocal things, just to sort of loosen the lips. But that has become, sort of like that. But that has become like just a habit. That's more just a sort of, because I'm conscious that there's times you go to a gig. It happened to me at Mandela, where you've been watching Mickey for 20 minutes doing MC, and then you realise, fuck, I haven't spoken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like I haven't. My voice hasn't actually used it. So I'm like going to do a couple of wee like.
I've been stumbling over a few words recently because I wear these and then I take them out, and your lips aren't where they used to be, and you kind of just like you just stumble through a word,
You're like, oh fuck, that's right.
Come on.
Will Yumz ever take Oz by storm? No, just won't be there. Colin, is there any part of NA you can go to without being called Barry or being asked for a photo? Is there any city or town you roll your eyes at the thought of?
I mean, not the town specifically, but I will do a gig in some places where I'm like, these people are fucking animals. But then, I'll leave it 6 years and I'll go back and then I'll have my mind changed.
They've been tamed?
Like at one point I swore I'd never be in Uri ever again, and then did it last year and it was great. So I don't know.
Yeah.
If the crowds are good...
Uri was fucking off the chain on Saturday night, like in Canal Court, 500 people. It was fucking amazing. It was deadly. Really one of the best nights. And last year was the same. It was class. Really good. Is that the guy Colin does the promotion, no? Or is it Shane? There's a Southern guy that does... Even though Murphy is up through Shane, it was still this Southern guy does the Canal Court apparently. Does all the... Okay. So I don't know if it was the same fella. Is there anywhere? The question was: is there any part of NA? Is there any part of the fucking planet you can't go to without being asked to be called Barry? Have you ever went anywhere yet in the last 5 years, even to Austin or wherever, and nobody was recognised you at all anywhere?
Yeah, Austin.
Just Austin?
It was pretty clean, yeah.
Because like, we mentioned LA, Vietnam, and I'm sure obviously when you go to England or wherever in Scotland you're going to have it. But
I remember in Scotland, like sitting in a Nero, and there was this table of like rough looking bastards, and one of them kept looking around like I see, and they're all whispering and chatting, and I was like, oh my god, like fucking trying to eat a sandwich. And then I went to do the stand, and they were all in the front row, and they were all MMA fighters.
right?
There was about fucking 12 of them in the front row from the grip house, obviously, all fucking, fucked up ears and big, ugly, fucking mean-looking bastards. And I was like, and then one of them was literally like tweeted something after. It was like when you're there with like 10 fighters and they're all shit scared to speak to Colin Geddis. And I was like, well, just definitely say something, because I thought I was going to get my fuck kicked in when we were like whispering to each other at this table.
We'll get him out the side.
Yeah.
So listen, thank you to all our patrons. That's all our questions. Thank you very much. Thank you to Mr. Geddis for coming.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Thank you for filling in for Mr. Bartlett. He normally I would ask people to do an impression of Bartlett, but we're not going to do it. McCann didn't do one last week, but he has done one before.
I can't do it. The eyebrows don't
The
go
eyebrows,
fine.
you have to have the eyebrows. It doesn't work without it.
Sure. He tell you something.
That is them fucking cartoon eyebrows. So yes, the Deck Chair and Yumz live podcast is on the 20th of May. But before that, get your tickets for General Banter podcast live from Telegraph Building.
Get them both. Stick them in the same basket.
Stick them in the same basket to fucking do the whole lot in one go. Lavery's every week, Wednesday and Thursday. Get your tickets from there. They're always fucking cracking nights. Any other big shows coming up? We'll let you know about the Dailies dates. That's
the Dailies coming up. Is that July? Would it be?
It's going to be a July time. Yeah,
July.
So it's going to be
12th of July. Live at Dailies.
Close enough. And then yeah. So
I'll turn up with a flute like Lizzo. You're fucking white Lizzo. Colin Gizzo.
See them fucking assless chaps. You look good in them, alright. Any other gigs coming up then?
Nothing major.
Vicar Street.
Vicar Street, 8th of September.
8th of September. Get on that.
If you know anyone who lives in Ireland, tell them to go to that.
Get on that shit and get going. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. And as always, tell your mates, do your shares, do all that shit. Peace out.
Bye.